Thank you to Anchor for sponsoring today's video.
The Anchor 757 is the perfect portable power station for all your outdoor adventures and technology enthusiasts. This power station is equipped with premium LFP batteries that will remain in a healthy state even after 3,000 complete charge cycles. It also has 6 times longer battery lifespan than the industry average. You can have peace of mind with a 5-year guarantee that it will outlast your other electronic devices. The HyperFlash Recharge uses bidirectional inverter technology with 92% charging conversion rate. You can recharge from 0 to 80% in just 1 hour. You can have worry-free power supply for 3 to 5 day trips or emergent outages. Appliances that can be charged include portable fridges, fans, coffee makers, microwaves, and more. You can also get the Anchor 521 and the 535 with the same long-lasting batteries but a smaller capacity. Click the link in the description box or search Anchor Powerhouse to learn more about what Anchor product will work best for you.
Shh. Ruby, remove. Shh. Ruby. Right up the kitchen window. Favorite part. No, Ruby, you leave him alone. Ruby. The hardest part of the job is done. All of the old siding has been removed, the new house wrap has been installed, then the fun really begins. I will install a new ledger board and then hang the roof rafters for the very last time. Hopefully the next time this porch needs any structural attention, it won't be in my lifetime. This is a very critical part of sealing the house properly long term. When I had to cut the bottoms off of the second story board and batten, I also scored the house wrap, which needs to be fixed. The only way I can properly fix that is to shove the new house wrap up under the old house wrap and the board and batten siding. Using an old drywall knife, I carefully push the new house wrap under the old house wrap and the wood, and then once this is done, I have to slide a flashing between the wood and the new house wrap to ensure that no water will get behind the new front porch. Because this is a front porch, this is probably a little bit overkill, but I really don't want to redo the roof because of water leaks. This side of the house is more north facing, and the snow sits the longest on the front porch and the second story. Last year we found that the second story snow slid much sooner than we anticipated, which was good. But because I had not changed the angle of the front porch, all of that snow sat on the front porch until I could get up there and shovel it off. We only had to go through one winter to figure out that the angles were not right on both the front and the back of the house on the first story roofs. Once the front porch angle has been changed, I will never have to worry about shoveling snow off of another roof around the ranch somewhere. I have always learned more being self-taught than being told what to do, meaning the experience of doing whatever it is that I'm doing has always taught me more than somebody trying to tell me how they did it. Sometimes this can be expensive though, but I still wouldn't have it any other way. The knowledge I have around framing and building is naturally much different than it was when I first built this front porch. I don't have a problem going back and fixing the things that might keep me up at night, because some of the things that had to be changed on the house I knew sooner than later would need attention. So instead of waiting for that catastrophic moment, I've tried to get out in front of some of these things. But this should be the last of the major repairs on the house. If I could go back to my 40th birthday, which was the day we poured the foundation for this house, naturally I would avoid some of these changes that I've had to make, but really the only thing different I would do with the house is I would do 10-foot ceilings downstairs, and I would give my wife the master bathroom that she's always wanted. After living in the house for a few years, we don't need any more square footage, but it would have been nice to have our own bathroom upstairs. This is the new ledger board that the new front porch will hang off. And this is where I messed up when I was originally framing the house. I tried to use the rim joist board that was naturally part of the structure as the ledger board on both the front and the back of the house. What that did is it dramatically lowered the point at where the roof line started, which ultimately meant I couldn't have as much pitch on the front porch and the back of the house as was needed. By raising the ledger board up about 20 inches, we now have a much better pitch on the front porch. And truthfully, it's probably even stronger than the original way that I framed it. You have to think that a couple of feet of heavy, wet snow that has been sitting on the north side of our roof, decomposing all winter, when that finally slides, it is thousands of pounds without question. So the front porch has to handle that. The first time the snow slid off this second-story roof and onto the old front porch, I happened to be sitting on our bed, and I thought we just started into an earthquake. Thank you to the kind person that sent me the miter saw table. One of those tools I didn't realize how badly I needed it until I got it. I don't watch much TV, but if I'm going to spend my time watching TV, I try to watch things that I can learn from. So over the years, I've gone through all of the reality TV shows that might in some way connect to our lifestyle. And the only one that I've gone back and watched for a second time is Alaska: The Last Frontier. When I started watching that show 10 years ago, I connected to the lifestyle they were living, and I knew that I wanted our version of that. I don't know if all of the characters in that show still live as close to the land as they once did, but it's very obvious that long before the TV cameras showed up, they knew how to live with the land and survive on their homestead. The most fascinating part of the story around that show, Alaska: The Last Frontier, is the simple fact that it would not exist had Grandma and Grandpa not sacrificed everything and came to a new country in pursuit of freedom and to live life on their terms. Now on that same homestead, Grandma and Grandpa have passed away, but the second, third, and fourth generations are still able to live that same lifestyle. And that might be the most beautiful part of the whole story. I would bet money that you are a descendant of somebody that did something similar. If we go back far enough in our families, there's always somebody that took a risk for a better life. I've talked about this in the past, but I am the descendant of people who fought for everything they have. But I'm no different than you. We are all descendants of people that have struggled through life in pursuit of a better life. And you just happen to be the person that lives in a time when it has never been easier to live. You don't have to hunt. You don't have to farm. You don't have to forage. You don't have to kill anything. You can touch an app on your phone and food will show up on your front door, and you don't even have to be concerned with where that food came from. Over the last 6 years, I've talked about this idea that I have about being 1 degree away from our food, which means if I didn't grow it, harvest it, hunt it, or kill it, I need to know who did. For the second time in the last couple of years, we are now seeing evidence that the way in which we get our food may not be sustainable. We are seeing evidence that we should all have gardens. We are seeing evidence that maybe having a milk goat or 2 around is not such a bad idea. I've never felt completely comfortable depending on anybody else other than myself for the things that I feel I need in my life that ultimately bring comfort. And the things that bring me comfort start with food and shelter. But mainly food, because let's be honest, food's kind of important in the whole scheme of things. Again, in the past, Cedar and I have talked about how we feel about preparedness and having food around your place that can last a little while. But in the near future, I will do things around our homestead like a long-term greenhouse that I hope will give us the opportunity to see if we can produce enough food on our place to live on. That's always been my goal. Can I raise enough food on this place in 1 year to feed my family for a year? It might take me a few years to get to that point, but that's the pursuit. The question at the moment is, am I going to get to do this voluntarily, or is this something I'm going to have to do? So as soon as I get the excavator out of the shop and start moving some dirt around on the hill, the greenhouse will have to be one of the first projects I get to, as well as the root cellar, and then maybe the underground sauna. But once the bigger projects like the front porch is completely finished, I know exactly what I'm going to do. So building a greenhouse into the side of the hill where I can utilize the temperature of the earth should help us grow vegetables deep into winter. And this is one of those projects that I've been thinking about for a number of years, and I really look forward to building something that should last a very, very long time. But again, the plan is to build a greenhouse that we could use almost all year round. I have learned over the last few times that I've hung rafters on our house that by using a deck screw on the top of the rafter and temporarily hanging the rafter, after getting all of the rafters hung in place, I can then come back and put the Simpson strong tie brackets. And for me, it ends up being a little bit more precise this way. And by the way, these are the same brackets that I used when I initially built the house. I secured the ledger board to every stud along the wall, and now all the Simpson brackets are secured using my new Tico nailer that has saved me so much time. What would have been an all-day job to do by hand has now become a 20-minute job with a nailer. As much of a pain as it is to put all of the Simpson brackets in, it's pretty important. And this is one of those things that I fear long term will be pretty necessary. Once the front porch is completely dried in and the tin has been installed, I will then get the board and batten installed across the front of the house. But this is the spot that's going to be most seen, so I'm going to have to carefully pick through what I have left and see if I can get the new 1x12s to tie in properly. Again, being self-taught can be expensive, but if you stick with it, you shouldn't make the same mistakes again. The next major challenge is going to be prepping all of the wood for the stain that we're going to use on all of the board and batten siding. I was also able to remove all of the hurricane ties and reinstall them on every rafter all the way across the front of the porch. Now I'm going to shear the roof off with the rough sawn 1x12s, and then the roof's ready to be dried in. Okay, I worked late last night and I got all of the brackets, all of the Simpson strong ties in place on both sides. We are ready for a lid. We are ready to start getting the roof nailed off and finished and dried in. And then I get to start on the siding, which I'm really looking forward to. It's amazing what, I was just talking with Cedar, and really it's amazing what the pitch and how much higher it is, how much different it kind of feels. So anyway, I'm really excited to get all the board and batten done and get everything just tied in together and finished. I think it's going to look great. And then maybe, just maybe, later in the summer, I'll tear all the tin off and do some stucco stone, but that's not going to happen until we get a few big things finished up. But the ledger board and the flashing and the way everything transitioned turned out really, really good. So it would have been much easier to use 1/2-inch plywood on the roof instead of 1x12s. But it would not have given us the look from the underside that we wanted to have. Because most of this wood is green, it's going to shrink up a little bit, and there's going to be little 1/4-inch gaps all over underneath the roof. And that's what we wanted to go with. And long term, these 1x12s should age and look beautiful the older they get, where plywood probably isn't going to do the same thing.
Got a project for you.
Hang her up.
You want the birds to stop dive bombing you?
What do you think? Where you want it?
You want it over here? Or do you want it over by the flowers?
Didn't we have them every one last time? I'm going to bang my head on it 20 times, but it's okay.
Want to crank it up a little bit? Or a
No,
little bit?
lower is better. If it's low, I'll see it.
There's another tulip.
Yeah, they're coming up. Every corner has one, two. They're coming up. They're a little rough looking, but they're gonna make it. That's gonna be our thing now.
You're gonna fist bump me? I'm going
That's
to
twice
get.
in 2
You
weeks.
patted me. I'm going to get my gloves, and I'm coming out to clean up this crap.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be wearing that before the day's over. In the next few weeks, and once the wedding is out of the way, we're going to send out an invite to some of you to come spend some time with us and work side by side on a few projects. Depending on how this first goes, we'll set the tone for the rest of the summer. But this first project is going to be all about getting the barbed wire fence fixed between our new land and the public land. And this is going to be very hard physical work. On this coming Wednesday's video, I'm going to talk more about this project again, but if you live close enough for a day project, and if you have time and an interest to spend with us fixing fence at 7,000 feet in elevation, I'll give you a specific email address on Wednesday to respond to. Getting that fence fixed from the highest point on our property, which is just shy of 7,000 feet in elevation, all the way down to the other corner, which is 1,000 feet lower, is going to be a very physical job, to say the least. Thank you again for taking time to watch our videos, and we will see you in just a few days with another update, as well as more info on this project that we're going to do.